Hey man, let me tell you something you were never supposed to understand. Most men think women fall in love through logic, through conversation, through long-term compatibility, but that's not how addiction starts. That's not how obsession takes root. Women don't get addicted to you because of what you say or what you do on paper. They get addicted to what you awaken inside them, what part of their hidden desire you tap into and light on fire. They become obsessed with a man who makes them feel something they can't explain. It's not about how many texts you send, or how fast you reply, or how many gifts you buy her. She doesn't get hooked on consistency, she gets hooked on emotional chaos that feels like chemistry. She gets addicted to the man who remains just outside her reach, who makes her question herself, who mirrors back her deepest fantasies without ever confirming anything. And the more she tries to decode him, the deeper she falls. This isn't conscious, it's primal, it's chemical. It's pure lust blended with emotional mystery, and it hijacks her logic before she even realizes she's spiraling. That's how powerful men get worshipped, not by being nice, not by pleasing, but by creating a vibe that becomes her craving. A woman can go her whole life thinking she wants a kind man, a provider, someone who texts her every morning and says goodnight with a heart emoji. And when she meets that man, she might smile, appreciate him, thank the universe, but she won't lust for him. Lust comes from uncertainty, from that delicious mix of danger and attraction, from the man who gives her just enough to feel alive, but never enough to feel safe. That imbalance is intoxicating. It keeps her guessing, and when a woman is guessing, she's invested. She'll replay his words 1,000 times in her head. She'll look for clues in his silences. She'll dream about what his smirk meant, what his touch implied, what his absence says about her worth. That mental loop, that's addiction, that's lust building roots. And here's the twisted truth, she will mistake that addiction for love. She'll say, I can't stop thinking about him, I need him. But it's not love, it's not stability, it's her feminine brain latching onto uncertainty like it's oxygen. And the more emotionally controlled the man is, the more power he holds over her nervous system. That's how it begins. Not with romantic gestures, but with energy, vibe, silence, control. What most men fail to grasp is that female addiction is not born from the things you do for her. It's born from the way you subtly deny her full access to you. The moment you stop oversharing, stop overgiving, stop acting like a man who's trying to win her approval, you trigger something deeper in her curiosity, mixed with challenge. And that is the root of female obsession. Not validation, but absence of it. Not closeness, but emotional space. Think about it. When you're always available, always agreeable, always trying to show you're a good man, you make her feel safe, but not aroused. You become predictable, and predictability, to the female psyche, is the death of desire. But when you operate from power, not neediness, when you're unpredictable in just the right way, she starts chasing you emotionally without realizing it. You become a puzzle, a riddle, a force she can't control, and her ego cannot stand that, so she keeps coming back. Not because of love, but because of the emotional roller coaster her own brain created in response to your mystery. This is the foundation of lust-based addiction. It has nothing to do with who you are on paper, and everything to do with how you make her feel about herself in your presence. You want to know when a woman truly gets addicted? It's not when you take her on a romantic date. It's not when you say all the right things. It's when you walk away at the exact moment she thought she had you. When she opens up, makes herself emotionally vulnerable, and instead of validating her, you remain calm, slightly distant, controlled. That micro disappointment, that emotional tension, that's what burns into her memory. That's what she replays in the shower, in bed, in silence. That's what turns into obsession. Because women are addicted to emotional contrasts. One moment, she feels close. The next, she senses you pulling back. That hot-cold rhythm scrambles her logical mind and activates her feminine craving for validation. And instead of questioning you, she questions herself. Why didn't he text me today? Did I say something wrong? Is he losing interest? And boom, she's hooked. You've implanted yourself into her nervous system. She now craves your approval like a drug, even if she won't admit it. And this is where the power dynamic shifts, not because you're being manipulative, but because you stopped over-investing. You've mastered restraint. And that restraint, that's what makes her desire uncontrollable. Most men think the key to seduction is to be romantic, expressive, emotionally available. And yes, those things work when a woman is already addicted. But in the beginning, it's your mystery that lights her fire. It's the way you look at her like you already know she wants you. It's the way you hold eye contact like she doesn't intimidate you. It's the way you say very little but command the whole room. These small, subtle behaviors scream high value. And high value men don't chase, don't explain, don't overcommit. That aura of calm control, of selective presence is what she craves. Because it's rare, because it makes her feel like she needs to earn your attention. And the second she feels she's chasing it, she's emotionally invested. Even if she sleeps with you, even if she says she's just having fun, understand this: if your energy stays unshaken, she will fall. Not because of your words, but because your vibe penetrated her fantasy. You became the storm and the shelter, and every part of her feminine nature longs to surrender to that contradiction. There's a reason women keep going back to men who don't even treat them well. It's not because they're stupid, it's because they're emotionally addicted. They don't know how to walk away from the emotional turbulence that felt like passion. That chaos activated parts of their feminine identity that no nice guy ever did. And while the nice guy sends good morning texts and brings flowers, she's still wondering why she can't forget the man who never fully opened up. Why? Because female obsession isn't born from emotional security. It's born from emotional disruption. That unpredictability becomes magnetic. It keeps her wondering, waiting, hoping. She starts tying her self-worth to your reactions, and once she's there, logic is gone. She won't care if you text back late. She won't care if you keep things vague. She'll justify it all because her mind has assigned you a value her body can't let go of. That's the core of addiction. When she can't logically explain why she wants you, she just does, because you've become her craving. And no other man, no matter how stable, feels the same. Understand something, brother. This isn't about playing games. This is about recognizing the emotional mechanics of feminine desire. When you're too available, too eager, too giving, you rob her of the emotional tension her nervous system craves. But when you stay in control of your energy, when you make her feel like you're not completely sold yet, when you subtly pull back right when she thinks she's got you, you flip the script, you become the prize, and now she has to prove herself. That shift changes everything. She starts dressing for you, texting you first, replaying your voice in her head. And here's the wild part, she won't even know why. She'll say, there's just something about him, and she's right. That something is your discipline, your restraint, your refusal to let her beauty or emotions dictate your presence. You stayed grounded, and that groundedness, that's the masculine energy that turns women into addicts, because it's the one energy she can't control, and every part of her dark feminine is drawn to that power like a moth to a flame. Here's what most men miss in the seduction game. Emotional intensity is everything. If she doesn't feel emotionally disrupted in some way, she'll forget you the second another man with stronger presence enters the room. You could be the most well-dressed, well-mannered man and still be forgotten. Why? Because you made her feel safe, but not seduced. She wasn't disturbed. She wasn't mentally pulled in. Women get addicted to the man who destabilizes their emotional routine. The one who makes them feel unsure, curious, intrigued, maybe even a little frustrated. That's what makes her spiral. That's what makes her stare at her phone at midnight, wondering why you haven't replied. That's what makes her stalk your social media silently, trying to figure out what you're doing and who you're doing it with. This is not toxic, it's primal. This is how female emotion bonds with male mystery. She needs that emotional impact to attach. And the man who understands this knows if she's not a little mad at you, a little confused, a little emotionally shaken, then she's not really into you. She's comfortable, and comfort doesn't breed addiction. Uncertainty does. You want to truly understand the feminine mind? Study how women fall for fictional characters. The brooding villain, the emotionally unavailable anti-hero, the cold, quiet leader. These are not accidents. They are projections of her unconscious desires. These men don't explain themselves. They don't validate. They don't chase. Yet women across the world swoon over them. Why? Because of what they represent. Power under control. That is the apex of masculine energy. The man who could destroy but chooses silence. The man who could chase but chooses patience. The man who sees her but doesn't need her. That's the man she dreams about. And in real life, it works the same. If your energy radiates that aura, that mystery, that subtle danger, you will bypass her logic and speak directly to her body. She'll be drawn to you before she even knows your name. Not because of what you say, but because of how you exist. And the more emotionally contained you remain, the more she spirals into obsession. You become the story she tells her friends, the one she can't forget, the one she can't explain. Let me say this clear: attention is not power. Control over your attention is. When you give her all your attention early, when you text too much, call too often, compliment too easily, you kill the mystery. And without mystery, there is no addiction. She might appreciate you, she might even like you, but she won't crave you. Craving is born from scarcity, from the idea that she doesn't fully have you yet, that there's more to earn, more to unlock, more to reach. That's what keeps her coming back. That's what makes her invest. When she doesn't know how you feel, when she can't predict your behavior, when she's unsure whether you'll choose her or walk away, you become her focus, her obsession. And now, even your silence speaks louder than another man's words. That's real masculine seduction, not in chasing, but in withholding, not in pleasing, but in letting her earn it. Because the more she works for your attention, the more she values it. And when a woman values your presence, she'll mold herself to keep it. There is a darkness in female nature that no one talks about. She needs to feel emotionally dominated to feel sexually alive. Not in an abusive way, but in a psychological way. She wants a man whose energy overpowers her self-control. A man who triggers her emotions without even trying. A man who doesn't flinch when she tests him. Who remains composed when she tries to provoke. Who never tries to please her, but somehow still holds her attention. That's the dominance she lusts after. Not loud, not aggressive, but so deeply rooted in self-respect that her usual tricks don't work. That power imbalance, that's what lights up her desire. She becomes addicted to proving herself to you, to getting a reaction from you, to making you lose control and failing. Because when she fails, when you remain cold and centered and selective, she feels small. And in that moment of feeling small, she feels feminine. And in that feminine state, she craves you beyond logic. This is what good men never learn. You don't win a woman's heart by playing fair. You win it by playing deep. At the end of the day, the woman who gets addicted to you doesn't do it because you fulfilled her checklist. She does it because you became a mirror for her hidden chaos. You reflected her need for emotional friction. You became the fire that burned just far enough to stay untouchable. And that distance, that's what keeps her up at night. That's what makes her remember your silence more than another man's affection. You entered her system like a virus, not to harm her, but to awaken her. She will think about you in moments of weakness, in her most vulnerable states. When she's lonely, insecure, or doubting herself, your face will appear, your voice will echo, and the scariest part, she won't know why. She won't even realize how deep the craving runs. Because true addiction isn't loud, it's subtle, it sneaks up, it builds over time. And by the time she realizes it, she's too deep to walk away. Women don't fall for men who follow rules. They fall for men who rewrite them without saying a word. You want her addicted? You need to live in a frequency she can't tune into unless she slows down, listens deeper, and lets her guard drop. That's the real secret of masculine pull, stillness. The man who doesn't rush to fill every silence, who doesn't explain every move, who lets his presence do the work. In that silence, in that calm, in that lack of trying, you're creating a space where her mind runs wild. She starts questioning everything. Why is he so calm? Why didn't he compliment me? Why is he not chasing like the rest? And that's exactly where you want her. Because once a woman starts asking questions about you internally, she's already tethered emotionally. She's not thinking about other men. She's not analyzing her options. She's studying you like a riddle she's dying to solve. That's not attraction. That's psychological entrapment. And once she's in that mental loop, she'll confuse it for fate, for chemistry, for magic. But in truth, it was just you holding your frame. You ever wonder why she forgot the guy who gave her flowers, but still dreams about the man who left her waiting unseen? It's because the former gave her closure, while the latter gave her open loops. And that's what women get addicted to, unfinished emotional stories. That's the same reason she'll keep going back to a man who wasn't even good for her, because she never figured him out. He left an echo inside her. And that echo becomes louder when she's alone, when she's in bed, when life slows down. That's when the addiction hits hardest, not during sex, not during dates, but during silence, because women feel most attached when they don't understand why they feel anything at all. If you're too easy to read, she'll respect you, maybe even love you, but she won't crave you, she won't need you. And in the world of seduction, need is everything. Make her need your attention, make her wonder about your approval, and without even knowing it, she'll start shifting her behavior to get a little more of what you're not even offering. That's addiction. Here's where it gets darker. Some women don't even want a man, they want a challenge. They want the thrill of pursuing someone who doesn't fold, who doesn't fawn over them, who doesn't fall too fast. And when you do fall fast, when you give her everything up front, when you tell her how amazing she is too soon, she resents it. Why? Because you gave her the win too early. There's no mystery left, no conquest, no fantasy, and that ruins the game. What most men never realize is this: when she says she wants honesty and openness and vulnerability, what she's really saying is make me earn it, because anything unearned, she devalues. Fast love feels fake to her. But the man who makes her peel back layers, who drops his walls slowly, who reveals his heart like a riddle, that's the man she will never forget. He made her work for it, he made her wonder, and that process, not the result, is what got her addicted. Because it wasn't just about you, it was about how she felt while chasing you. That's the drug. Addiction doesn't come from consistency, it comes from tension, from your ability to withhold, to be stoic in the face of beauty, to not flinch when she tries to seduce your attention with her words, her curves, her vulnerability. The longer you stay emotionally unrushed, the more she unravels. The more she tries to crack the code, the more her ego gets involved. And now it's no longer about love. It's about proving to herself that she can get to you, that you'll eventually break. And the longer you don't, the deeper she falls. Because deep down, she respects what she can't control. She craves it. Because every man before you gave her control. They followed her lead. They begged for affection. They couldn't hold their center. But you stayed cold in the heat. And that contrast, that tension, that refusal to bend, that's what made her lose sleep over you. That's what made her body remember yours, not because you touched her, but because you didn't. And now every part of her is screaming to feel what you're not giving. That's when addiction becomes inevitable. And don't get it twisted, this isn't about being a jerk. This is about self-possession. The man who's self-possessed is the most dangerous man alive, because he doesn't need a woman to complete him. He doesn't need her to validate his worth. His energy is whole, intact, complete. And that scares her, because now she knows she can't manipulate him. She can't throw emotional tantrums and expect him to chase. She can't test his masculinity and watch him fold. So what does she do instead? She submits. She softens. She begins to crave his leadership, his decisions, his attention. And the moment she starts craving what he's not even trying to give, she's hooked. Not on the man himself, but on the possibility of being chosen by him. That's the ultimate seduction. When a woman starts chasing the privilege of being close to you, not because you're cold, but because you're composed, that addiction is the most dangerous kind, because it grows in silence, in stillness, in masculine depth. And once it takes root, even she won't know how to escape it. You ever meet a woman who says, "I don't know what it is about him, but I just can't stop thinking about him"? That's not love. That's not logic. That's addiction formed by emotional mystery. And the man she's talking about, he probably didn't even try. He just existed in a way she couldn't decode. His calm was unnerving. His energy didn't bend. His replies were slow, if he even replied. He wasn't cruel, he was controlled. That contrast is haunting for her, because most women are surrounded by men who are eager, emotional, reactive. But when she meets the man who doesn't react, she begins reacting for both of them. She texts more, she overthinks more, she gives more, and every time he doesn't give back what she's used to receiving from other men, she internalizes it. She assumes he's high value, she assumes he's rare. And now she's addicted to chasing approval from someone who doesn't hand it out freely. That's where it starts. Not in lust, not in words, in restraint. That's the real seduction art most men will never master. Let me tell you something brutal but true. A woman will sleep with a man she doesn't even like if he makes her feel uncertain about herself. That uncertainty pulls her into the vortex. The moment you flip the script, where she's not sure if you like her, not sure if she's good enough for you, not sure if she's even your type, that's when she tries harder. That's when the power shifts. Now she's performing, now she's seducing, now she's proving. And when a woman starts proving herself, that's when she bonds. It's backwards, I know. But the female brain doesn't bond through comfort, it bonds through effort. And the harder she has to work to earn your time, your trust, your praise, the more emotionally invested she becomes. This is the dark psychology of seduction no one talks about. Women want to be chosen, but only by the man who doesn't choose quickly. When you make her wait, she makes you everything in her world. Most men think the goal is to impress her. Wrong. The goal is to haunt her, to leave behind a mark that no other man can erase. You do that by staying unavailable to the world, but strangely present with her in rare, fleeting moments. That contrast drives her crazy. One moment, she feels special. The next, she feels ignored. One moment, you're deep in connection. The next, you're gone. It's not about being manipulative. It's about showing her that your attention is a privilege, not a guarantee. That's what forms obsession. She begins to watch your patterns. She studies your behavior. She analyzes your energy. She starts trying to mold herself into the woman you might want, hoping that if she changes enough, you'll finally choose her. And when she becomes the one doing the chasing, you've already won. Because now, she's addicted not just to you, but to being enough for you. You ever hear a woman say, "I've never felt this way before"? That feeling is what she mistakes for love, but it's really the high of uncertainty. The man who makes her feel like she's discovering herself through him. The man who doesn't follow the script, the man who has no need to rush, becomes the man she measures all others against. That emotional impact, it's permanent. He may not even give her a label. He may disappear for weeks. But when he returns, even slightly, she lights up. Because her body remembers what her brain can't explain. That's real seduction. When she wants you, even when you're not good for her. When she stays up at night, hoping for your name to pop up on her phone. When she compares every man she meets to the memory of your energy. That's not love, that's psychological imprinting. And once it's in, no logic can remove it. And here's the final truth. The most powerful seduction is silent. It's not in your words. It's not in compliments or attention or validation. It's in your absence, in how she feels when you're not around. If her heart skips when she sees your name, if she checks her phone for a reply, if she replays old conversations and wonders what she did wrong, then you've already won. Because that means her nervous system is hooked. She's now in a cycle: anticipation, withdrawal, craving. And every time you re-enter her life, even subtly, she feels the high again. That loop is what creates long-term obsession. The kind she'll never talk about. The kind that lingers years after the last message. That's what you want. Not love on the surface, but addiction in her bones. Here's what no one tells you. The woman who claims she just wants peace will always crave the man who subtly disrupts it. Not because she wants pain, but because she's emotionally wired to be moved. Moved by energy, by unpredictability, by a man who doesn't explain himself. The guy who texts her every hour, showers her with compliments, and overcommits from day one. He gets thanked, appreciated, maybe even pitied. But the man who makes her feel seen, without saying a word, the man who touches her soul with nothing more than eye contact, that man gets remembered, and if he plays it right, he gets worshipped. Because now he's no longer a man, he's a story in her head, a feeling in her body, a ghost she can't stop chasing. And that's the dark elegance of female desire. She doesn't want to catch you. She wants to feel like she almost could. That's what keeps her addicted. The illusion of closeness, the fantasy of connection, the almost love she never fully understood. That limbo, that's her cage. And you, my brother, become the lock. And don't mistake this for cruelty. This is nature. This is the way masculine and feminine dynamics were always meant to dance. When you chase, she runs. When you pull back, she leans in. When you try too hard, she pulls away. But when you embody calm, purpose, and restraint, you awaken something deeper than attraction. You awaken her emotional subconscious, the part of her that wants to surrender, but only to the man who doesn't beg for it. This is how women become emotionally bonded without even realizing it. It's not about being rich. It's not about being good looking. It's about being rare. And rare men don't validate quickly. They don't fall easily. They don't chase anything that doesn't offer value back. And that's what pulls her in. That's what keeps her trying. Because once a woman feels herself working for a man's approval, she doesn't stop. She builds an emotional investment that grows whether you're around or not. That's how she gets addicted. Through her own effort. Through the mystery of what she can't explain. Through the feeling that he's something she may never understand, but needs anyway. So here's the truth. She'll never say out loud, she didn't fall for you. She fell for how she felt around you. She fell for the version of herself that came alive in your presence. The way her heart raced, the way her voice softened, the way she caught herself smiling at her phone, hoping you'd text back. That's what she misses. That's what gets her addicted. You became the mirror for her wildest emotions. You became the drug she didn't know she craved. Not because you tried, but because you didn't. You stayed centered. You stayed calm. You stayed mysterious. And in doing so, you gave her the space to spiral, to invest, to desire. That's how the most powerful addiction is born. Not from words, not from actions, but from how you made her feel without ever needing her to feel it. That's not game. That's not manipulation. That's masculine energy in its purest form. So next time a woman gets obsessed with you, remember, she's not addicted to your touch. She's addicted to your energy. Guard it like your life depends on it, because once she's hooked, she'll never find another man who feels quite like you again.